Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, it's a wonderful Tuesday out here in the great state of Arkansas. We got plenty to talk about today, as it's going to be football, it's going to be some basketball, may even be some various other crazy stories going around in the league and the SEC, as well as in the national landscape of everything. But we want to hear from you, so you can get in on the chat. You can also call in on our phone lines that are functioning and are working. 478-344-6623 is that number to call in. But guys, how we feeling? It's Tuesday, game week for football and basketball. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of both of the action going on this week.
Yeah, man, I'll take it. I didn't necessarily miss football last week after what we saw the last time they played, but I'm ready for a little football game, little action here. I'm probably not as excited about the old Texas rivalry as some people who are a little bit older than me, but it'll be cool. And I'm always excited for basketball. It'll be good to see those guys get in there and try to bounce back against, a Troy team. This is like an Eric Musselman special of those scrappy mid-majors that might win their league. And Arkansas's got another one coming into Bud Walton tomorrow.
Yeah, I like when you have the overlap of the two sports, and I really appreciate that they don't happen on the same day. That, we get our Wednesday game, we get a Saturday game, and then our basketball team plays again next week. It's nice that it's not going to be all, it's a busy time of year, but it's not like it's all kind of coming at us right at the same time. And so it's nice. There's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to these next few weeks.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting for many different reasons for both football and for basketball, but still, we're going to dive into it because I know there's a lot to talk about with basketball. Kenny Payne met with the media just here before we went live, so we'll have some thoughts on that, as well as some other good news that happened late last night for the Razorback basketball team. But mentioning football, I wanted to start with this because, as we talked about yesterday, Sam Pittman met with the media for Arkansas and had a few things to say. Nothing too crazy, I guess, other than just giving updates on injuries that I'm sure are 100% true and not going to change at any point in time this week. But it was just kind of whatever. He was even asked about the Texas game, the Texas rivalry, and saying it's a big game. He had him watch a bunch of film from like the 60s, from the 64 game, from the 69 game, trying to really show how much it means to the state of Arkansas for this game against Texas, which is great. And I don't think it was anything surprising. But what was really interesting was Steve Sarkisian, who's the head coach of Texas. Last time he came to Fayetteville, didn't go too well for him. Did not go too well for him. Arkansas ended up winning, I believe, by a final score of 40-21. Stormed the field, iconic game, iconic moment. Well, Sarkisian was asked about the rivalry of Arkansas and what it means and how big it is. And he had some fun with it, but some interesting comments to say about it too.
This Arkansas rivalry is sort of like underrated just because there's so much focus on A&M.
I think it might be underrated nationally. I don't know if it's going to get the same exposure that it would nationally, but I will tell you internally, it's getting the same amount that's needed, that it deserves. And this rivalry's been going on for a long time. I was joking with the team this morning. I don't know what Darrell Royal did to Arkansas back in the day, but they absolutely hate our guts. And I think we learned that the first time around when we went there. You watch some of the clips at the end of that game, and Joe Tessitore is talking about that Arkansas, hates Texas more than they like themselves. And he might be right. So I think from our perspective, internally we understand and value this rivalry, and it's great to have back. It's great for the state of Texas. It's great for the state of Arkansas. I wish nationally it probably got the exposure that this thing deserves. There's been some great games historically that these two teams have butted heads on. And so obviously we're looking forward to the opportunity.
So you hear from Steve Sarkisian talk about internally, it's a really big game, and internally it's a really big rivalry, but says it's underrated in the college football landscape. So the question is that just coach speak? Is that just crap and just trying to say, hey, that means a lot to us because it's a big game? Or do you feel like there might be a little bit of truth in actually saying that the Arkansas-Texas football game is underrated as a rivalry in college football?
I mean, it might be underrated right now just because we haven't seen it that much. And once it gets rolling, it's something that could probably build back. I don't know if it will get back to the levels that it was once at, but it'll probably become a bigger deal, I guess. But I think a lot of it is like a mixture of coach speak, and then he's just trying to do whatever he can to keep his guys as motivated as possible. moving forward through the rest of the season. I wouldn't say their backs are against the wall, but they're in a position where they certainly don't want to drop a game to Arkansas, as they move towards the college football playoff. So whatever you got to say, whatever, if you got to show film of the field storm the last time they were down there or whatever, you do what you do to kind of motivate your players. I think it's probably some of that.
I think he's honestly probably speaking a little bit from personal experience when he says, hey, he doesn't think it's a big deal nationally. And he immediately referenced that 2021 game. I think he is a Texas coach. When he took that Texas job, it probably wasn't listed in his job description. Hey, you got to beat Arkansas, or hey, you better beat Arkansas. You better be prepared for that rivalry. So I don't know if he really knew how deep it ran and how serious Arkansas fans took it until that 2021 game when he obviously saw the atmosphere. And so now that Texas is in the SEC, there's a little bit to it. I'm sure part of him wants to get that game back, of course. But also, I didn't take it as coach speak. I think, honestly, nationally, I think there's a lot of people, my age and below, who don't know that this was even a rivalry at all. Like, when I talk to my buddies, they're like, they have no idea. Like, just because Arkansas and Texas, it's more of an SWC thing. And so I do think, like, nationally, when Arkansas and Texas play, it'll be a time for people to kind of notice, oh, these dudes really do care about this game. And honestly, Texas is the bigger brother in this rivalry, where Texas doesn't care about it nearly as much as Arkansas cares about it. So I think he was kind of careful and doesn't want to ruin that allure a little bit. But I think Arkansas fans are kind of content with those circumstances.
It's just really unfortunate that Arkansas, in any of the games that they consider a rivalry or has been considered a rivalry or whatever, they have a losing record in. The only one that they don't is Texas A&M. And I don't really think you can feel good about that when you've lost literally 12 of the last 13 games. So it's not like, we got that winning record. Well, your winning record was by 20 games just 10 years ago, and now it's really gotten close there. But even if it's against Texas, if it's against Missouri, if it's against LSU, any of these games or teams you feel like you have a rivalry against, you have a losing record in. So it is pretty frustrating. But looking at it from the Texas perspective, I think we all can agree that they hate Oklahoma number one. Would you guys agree that Oklahoma is probably their number one hated over Texas A&M?
Probably.
For now, yeah. So then you have Texas A&M. I put them at number two. So where do you think Arkansas even ranks for Texas if they were really going through the teams they hate the most? Because I don't even know if it'd be 3 or 4. I don't even know if it'd be 5. I'm going to be honest. I don't want to speak for Texas fans because God knows I'm not one. But I'd be curious to know where on the pecking order does Arkansas even stack for a hated team in all of college sports, or just specifically college football? Yeah, I don't know who their other who else they would consider rivals. Probably nobody that they're still currently playing, I guess. But it's also like where the programs are. And so now they jump over to the SEC, and like Arkansas is having a decent year or whatever, but they're probably more concerned. Like, I bet they feel like Georgia is a budding rival after they came in there and kicked their ass earlier in the year, and so you wonder what that's going to look like if both of those teams are still going to be high up in the pecking order of the SEC. So it's interesting. Like I see Heartbroken Hog here. He says, I'm 27 and Texas are our biggest rival. They still care more than LSU fans do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't have a pulse on the Texas fan base enough to be able to really say that, I don't guess.
Yeah, I think it's a good point in terms of you compare yourselves to the programs of like just where you're at, the programs that are around you in terms of the national landscape. And so I think even programs like a Michigan, who Texas, I believe, had a home and home with recently, some of these like big time programs, I think Texas probably gets up for those games more. I used to argue with LSU fans about this all the time because they would always be like, well, Bama's our biggest rival. And I'd be like, well, you're not Bama's biggest rival because Bama has Auburn, but Bama was the best team in the country, the best program in the country, the kind of standard that everyone compares themselves to. And I think Texas obviously sees themselves in that light. So I do agree, but I agree with kind of your point, John, though, that Arkansas might not even be in the top 3 to 5 because I don't think Texas wants to view Arkansas as a rival. I don't think they want to view themselves as a comparable program to Arkansas. And good. I think Arkansas fans need to embrace that, though, that you are kind of the thorn in the side, that you're like the kind of annoying, presence that won't go away. And look, if you beat them this weekend, then you start looking at the recent history and it's like, look, you can overlook us all you want. You can claim it's not a rivalry, but we're whipping your ass, and they can be a fun thing that way. I think that's the right way to approach it. But I don't buy the idea that Texas and Arkansas is ever going to be like what it used to be for all the old folks, where it's like really like the game of the century and it's this awesome thing that the entire country's looking at. But I do think it can be a fun thing from the Arkansas perspective.
Yeah, and that's what I think they need to lean into. It's just it being the, hey, more often than not, if not all the time, you're going to be the underdog against Texas. Because obviously in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, Arkansas was the underdog in that game. Granted, I think Texas went 5-7 that year, and Arkansas went 9-4. But at the time,
they were pretty high.
Yeah, they were like a top 15, top 20 team. So you had that. And then in the Texas Bowl, the time before that, I hate to say this, Razorback fans, so don't get mad at me. You cared more about that bowl win than Texas did. Texas did not care about going to the Texas Bowl against you. Charlie Strong was a coach that not a lot of people even liked at the time. And, you were coming off of a season where you hadn't been to a bowl game in quite a few years, and it was Texas. You cared more, and you won, and you dominated. But the time before that, in 2008, you got destroyed by Texas down in Austin. And then the time before that, you lost at home, and that was to a much better Texas team. So my point is, there's very few times where you're not going to be the underdog in this series, Arkansas, if ever. Just being honest. I don't see Texas going away anytime soon. Does that mean they're going to be a Georgia, Bama national championship I don't know. I really don't. But as long as Steve Sarkisian's there, and as long as they keep bringing in the talent, as long as they have that money, they're going to be a team that's going to be better than you almost every year. So you're just going to have to embrace, as Andrew said, being that little brother and being that little annoyance and being that little thorn in the side where those Texas fans are going to have to circle the game against Arkansas like LSU fans had to do, where it's like, dadgummit, we better not lose to those guys because they care so much about this game. It's like, I don't care about it, but they do, so I have to, because if I don't, then they're going to beat us. So you got to embrace that type of role. And I don't know if that's going to be enough for you to win this Saturday. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but that's about all you got right now with the Texas deal and what it is, the rivalry. But
is that where Arkansas is kind of at right now as a program, where I heard somebody saying this about South Carolina earlier in the week, which like they just kind of like maybe they underachieve at times. Like they feel like they always lose some games they shouldn't, but then every year they kind of play spoiler and pick up a win or two and kind of ruin the seasons of other programs. Is that where we're at with Arkansas right now, where you can still have good years and win games and get to bowls and everything, but you're kind of like you're hanging your hat on just like pissing off teams who have bigger dreams or goals than you have at the moment?
It's the role of nobody wants to play us.
There we go. Yeah.
Got to hope for, when it comes to November, nobody wanted to play that 2014 Brett Bielema team. Nobody wanted to play McFadden Felix in 2007 after they beat LSU. That's what you can hope for.
It's a good way to put it.
The record books. Do you want to play us today? If they say no, then you can hang your hat on that.
Yeah, and it's some people may say that's sad, but that's honestly your best bet. I mean, that's the best feeling that you're going to be able to have in these games is just saying, hey, don't want to play us because you never know. Arkansas is one of those teams. They're crazy. They're kind of like I always look back to the maybe not the greatest example, but those Mike Anderson basketball teams where they would win so many games that they shouldn't. And everybody like, why? Why are you doing this? Because no one knows how to prepare for them. No one knows what's going on. No one knows what their plays are running. There's not just a set way to do it. And I think that there can be an element to that for Arkansas and going up against these giant teams, as has been referred to as, is, we don't know what we're going to see. Are we going to see the Arkansas team against Tennessee? Or are we going to see the Arkansas team against Ole Miss? Are we going to see the Arkansas team against Oklahoma State? Or are we going to see the Arkansas team against Texas A&M? I don't know. We don't know. We have our predictions and all of that. But at the end of the day, your hope is like, hey, it's Texas. It means a lot. It's a top 5 team. It's your final SEC home game in Fayetteville. You got embarrassed the last time you played here. You had a bye week. You're getting guys healthy. So that's it. I don't think anybody should think, Arkansas is a better team than Texas if Arkansas wins this game. You may just be better for 3 hours, maybe in 4 hours. The best team in the country today. That's what you got to be. You got to be that type of thing. So I had to work that in there for Andrew. I'm glad you got it, Ellis, because I knew you would. But anyways, it's rivalry week. I wish I was feeling better about this, guys. I really do. I wish they would perform better against Ole Miss, even if they lost. I wish I could go into this game feeling like, man, maybe, just maybe. I have zero feeling. I have zero confidence in this team right now. Zero.
You should try to just detach any expectations one way or the other and just enjoy the moment. You're going to have a fun tailgate, John. It's going to be nice and early. first light, whatever you guys say, you know.
Yeah.
And you get lathered up, as Sam Pittman says, and go in there and just watch Arkansas, Texas football and let the chips fall where they may, man.
I feel
like
they're
that's
going
the right way to approach it. But I will say this, because John, you said it's rivalry week. Is it rivalry week?
I don't know.
Obviously, we're talking. We talk about how how Arkansas views themselves in the rivalry, but I feel like this is a good time for us to discuss. Should Arkansas be just picking a team that will actually embrace the rivalry? Can I interest you guys in a little Arkansas, Missouri, bringing the trophy, the battle line, the shelter insurance battle line rivalry? Should Arkansas just bite the bullet and be like, you know what? These guys want to be our rival. We've got all these teams that we view as our rival. None of them care about us. We know these cats care about us. And Arkansas fans would be lying if they said they didn't care about Missouri. Because how many comments every day in our show do we have talking about, oh, did y'all see what Drink did? Oh, did you see Missouri over the weekend? You guys care about Missouri. You love them. And you hate them. You secretly care. So it's like, I don't know, maybe at some point Arkansas just needs to be like, F it. It's Arkansas, Missouri for the battle line rivalry. This is it.
That was one of the first things Sam Pittman said yesterday when he was kind of asked about adding this to the rivalries. He was like, well, Missouri's our rival. This is the first thing he said. He feels that way. We know he hates Drink, but still, we all do.
Bought and paid for by Shelter Insurance. So, yeah. And here's the thing. It's like, speaking of the rival, since we're on the discussion of it, I'd feel better about it, or I'd maybe embrace it a little bit more if it wasn't so forced upon in the very beginning. Like, that was the thing where it's like, you've been playing LSU at the end of the season for, since like 1996, I believe, is when that first game officially became the last game of the season. And then you got the news with A&M and Missouri joining, and that you weren't getting that game anymore. I still blame Jeff Long for that because I don't think he fought hard enough. But then they're like, all right, here's Missouri. And you're like, oh, okay. And Sonny's like, hey, listen, it's a rivalry. Let's build you a trophy. Hey, it's sponsored by Shelter Insurance. And hey, it's even got a name. And it's going to be at the end of the season. It's going to be a rivalry. There you go. It's like, no, we haven't even played yet. Like, it hasn't built. So it's kind of like a forced marriage. I don't care how much you'll ever get close, or maybe that you'll actually make it work out, but it's still always going to have that in the back of your mind, being like, yeah, but this still we were forced to do this. Like, did we really want to do this? We were forced to do this, and then we just grew to hate each other. So that's always going to be the back of my mind with Missouri. But again, if it would have been more organic, I wouldn't be against it. I honestly wouldn't, but it's still, even to this day, even from Drink, just feels forced still.
When you never beat teams, it's hard for it to organically become a rival.
True.
Yeah. Like, there's only like, let's think about the teams that Arkansas actually has a competitive series with annually. Ole Miss. Yeah.
I guess Mississippi State, maybe. Like, it's kind of becoming pretty.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Over the last decade or so, it's kind of.
The fact that we have to sit here and say, I think maybe Mississippi State, shows really how bad it's been for Razorback football. Exactly. But you're right, though.
Arkansas, Mississippi State, it has the least heat on it between any divisional game of, like, from both sides. Like, neither side cares about each other. It's just kind of like, hey, our fellow 5-7 brethren, what's up? There's no real heat. But to your point, John, in terms of organic rivalries, that's what made that LSU game so awesome. Obviously, for me, I had a unique perspective being in Louisiana and being a Hog fan. It's like, growing up, I really thought LSU Arkansas was like the biggest. I thought everybody viewed it that way. But if you looked at it, I mean, you had obviously like the Miracle on Markham Part 1 and Part 2, the 2007 game, the 2010 Pour Some Sugar on Me, the 2011 Honey Badger game, like even the 2013 game where the 3-9 Arkansas team almost beat Odell Beckham and all that. It was really trending toward, like, there was so much recent history, like the programs had kind of accepted it, even though LSU fans were a little bit more reluctant. I felt like it was a legitimate rivalry game, and right as it was really about to peak, Arkansas got lucky because their program kind of went to crap right after they stopped playing LSU on Thanksgiving, so it probably would have faded away anyway. But it felt like there was a lot of momentum that just got killed. And now, to your point, it's a little bit more of a forced situation, but you just gotta play with the cards you're dealt.
That's a great point, Andrew, because you think about the way it was building in that Arkansas LSU game, like the 2014 game when you shut them out and you rushed the field because it was your first win. The next year in 2015, I remember it was one of the first times, and I'm not being serious about this. Like, it's one of the first times I've ever seen Death Valley clear out at night, like in the third quarter when Arkansas beat them. It was weird. But you're right. It was building towards that. And the unfortunate thing is that Arkansas just really began to suck, and just really not have the way that they needed it to be and against anybody. But yeah, that could have been great. Could have been something special. But said I think it's also just the national landscape, guys, because I always compare it to like when you're in a class as a student in elementary school and you show up late to class and everybody's already grown up in pairs and you're like, oh, and then you got to be with the smelly, stinky kid in the back that nobody wants to be with. But it's like, because it's like, well, you got to be in pairs and you guys are the only ones left. So here you go. It's like, oh, great. Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Did that happen to you guys regularly? Like, did you ever get paired with the hot chick or?
No, that never happened.
Yeah, never. I was never there early.
Yeah. Like, no, yeah. I'm always one that got just thrown in where either it was the stinky kid or it was like the teacher because there was an odd number. It's like, oh, you got to pair up with the teacher. And there was nothing more lame than that.
I always appreciate it. I would much prefer being with the teacher than the smelly kid.
I wonder why. Yeah, it's like, yeah, but that's how it feels with this deal. But Missouri's coming up here later. They're a playoff team, though. They're a playoff team for to drink. So they got to get ready for that.
Staying alive, man.
Staying alive somehow, some way. Staying alive. That's a good little transition round. We'll get into basketball talk here in a second, folks, I promise. But I did want to bring it up for our Alumni Hall question of the day, sponsored by Alumni Hall. We're going to be there Friday for Inside Arkansas Live at noon. So come hang out. For those of you who are going to be in town, we'll be right there at 3417 North College Avenue in Fayetteville. So they got the greatest and best, all the stuff that you could need for Razorback apparel. You can also shop them online at alumnihall.com/Arkansas-Razorbacks. Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. I was just curious because I like to look at sometimes at the ESPN FPI. Not that it means anything, but they just put a lot of numbers into it. And I looked at it this morning, and it gave Arkansas a 15% chance of beating Texas. So I asked the public, when you're looking at that, do you think that Arkansas, in your mind, has a better than 15% chance or less than 15% chance to win this game against Texas? And the voters have spoken. 73% say lower.
Damn.
Than 15%.
Well,
so,
I pulled up the FPI as you were talking about it because I was going to do the same thing, and it is now down to 14.2. So,
like what changes in that? I'm curious. Like what made it go down a percentage point?
Some
like they probably saw your poll and they were like,
yeah. Probably like, we're giving Arkansas too good of a chance here, fellas. Like we gotta lower this thing. But isn't it sad? That's just sad to me. You got a top 5 team that's a hated team in Texas coming to town on a Saturday, and it's in November. The weather looks like it's gonna be perfect, 64 degrees and sunny. And you got people out here saying less than 15% chance of winning. It's just a bummer.
I mean, I would actually, if it wasn't for the way they looked against Ole Miss, I definitely would have gone higher. And I might still go a little bit higher than that. I don't think Arkansas is going to win. I don't think they're going to cover. But I mean, if you just look at Texas, let's forget about what Arkansas has done. Don't worry about that and what they do at home. It doesn't matter. But if you look at Texas's last 5 games, I mean, they beat the hell out of Florida and their 3rd string quarterback. So good job there. But, 3-point win over Vandy. They got punked at home by Georgia. They beat up on Oklahoma, but, I mean, those guys were that was kind of a mess there. And they weren't really that impressive against Mississippi State. It's not like they've just been beating the brakes off of teams. Now, neither was Ole Miss, in fairness, before they came to town. So, all bets are off. But just looking from the Texas standpoint of it, I'm not just blown away by their results, I guess I'll say.
I think I would go a little bit higher than 15%. Now, not much higher. I think if Arkansas and Texas played 5 times, Arkansas could mess around and win one of those games. So if by that logic, I'm going around that 15 to 20% range for a lot of reasons. Arkansas coming off a bye week. Texas is coming off of a really strong performance where they beat up on Florida. I feel like they've kind of had their midseason hiccup, and then now they've recovered from it. So they might have their guard down a little bit. And it's 11 a.m. I feel like road teams traveling 11 a.m. probably not getting super excited. Plus, Texas has so much coming down. They have so many big games down the stretch, starting with the A&M, obviously. There's a chance they're maybe overlooking this a little bit. So for a lot of those reasons, I feel like Arkansas is a little bit better than a chance to maybe play the spoiler here. But what I keep coming back to, though, is when Arkansas plays veteran quarterbacks, they really get diced up. And this might be the best veteran quarterback that they've played all year. At least preseason, I would have told you that. And so I don't think Arkansas is going to get the job done, but I would go slightly higher than 15%. I'd go like 17.5%. Is that fair?
I think it's fair.
I think it's fair. And you know what's sad? And I mean this honestly. This is an honest opinion. Arkansas, I would say 15% chance is right for me this weekend. But if this game was in Austin, I'd give them 25% chance. I'm serious. Like if this game was in Austin instead of in Fayetteville, I'd give them a better percentage chance of winning. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. This team,
it's not ridiculous if you paid attention.
Yeah. It's just, it's like in Little Rock, they're the greatest team. Maybe we should move all games to War Memorial because they're just the greatest team ever down there. Yeah. Maybe that's what it takes. Like the greatest team ever down there. When they play in Arlington, they at least keep it close, against A&M that would probably beat them out pretty handedly. You smoked Mississippi State. You beat Auburn. You gave Oklahoma State. You should have won that game. But then, I mean, that's how I feel for whatever reason. I like their chances. It's stupid, but you're better off on the road than at home. So 15% chance, yes. But if this is in Austin, I'd give them not an overwhelmingly great percentage, but at least 25. I'd give
Guys, we might have to update the rivalry rankings.
Oh no! Why?
We got a Longhorn account just sitting here crying in the comments here.
Feelings are so hurt because I said they got punked by Georgia.
Yeah, well, he's been crying for like 30 minutes straight. But no, I really, frankly, did not think Texas fans cared about Arkansas at all. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe they do care. If you're in our stream on a Tuesday afternoon, I feel like you care a little bit. Like no disrespect,
just a little. Yeah. It does hit you a little bit different. Also, Longhorn pundit, you did get punked. That game was never in doubt. Georgia just
3-0 at halftime.
Yeah, come on, man.
Also, you're potentially like those are maybe the two best teams in the country. Like you didn't expect to lose that game by 2 scores. Like I thought that was a fair punking.
Yeah, and listen, there's no shame in it because Arkansas got punked a few times this year, and sometimes it happens.
Hey, Ole Miss punked that same Georgia team last week.
Yeah. And you guys, I mean, the only thing you guys punked was the officials when you threw crap on the field that day, and you got a call reversed. So I don't want to hear.
I love how the retort is like, "You got punked." We know.
Yeah, like no kidding.
Nobody's denying that fact,
We're
buddy.
certainly not arguing for you that Arkansas football is above being punked regularly. That's not what we are claiming.
Dude, that is one of my favorite comebacks of all time. We didn't get punked. You got punked. It's like, yeah, but thanks. Sure. Like literally no one said, like, imagine somebody coming on here and be like, no, Arkansas hasn't been punked one time this year. They've been totally fine.
Punked Arkansas football.
Yeah, we're not doing the thing like we did with that Bama game many years ago where it's like, hey, Arkansas scored 31 on Ole Miss, okay? None of us are doing that. They got their asses beat, man.
No. Same thing with here's the thing. Georgia last week against Ole Miss. Guess what? Ole Miss punked them. They did.
Oh yeah.
It happens. Jeez. Well, at least we got one Longhorn fan that's
fun.
Really
I like
after. It. Yeah, it's great. Before we move on real quick, let's go to a phone call here. It's guy Trey and Harrison. What's up, Trey?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. What you got?
I was wanting to touch on the rivalry thing.
Okay.
See, me and my dad differ on this, and I think it's just generational. See, I'm 17 today. It's my birthday.
Oh, but, happy birthday.
Anyway, yeah, thanks. Me, it's A&M. Every bone in my body hates A&M. Just, if I could pick one team to go 0-12 for 10 years straight, it'd be A&M. My dad, he hates LSU with everything he's got. It's just different. My dad hates LSU. I hate A&M. We both want both of those teams to go 0-12. That's how I feel. I also don't like Texas either. I know a Texas fan, and I would love nothing more than the Razorbacks to hand out another 40-21 W in Fayetteville against them Shorthorns. God, it'd be amazing, but they probably won't, so I won't get my hopes up that bad. And it'd be nice for the Razorbacks to give me a nice birthday week, beat Troy by about 30 and then go whip Texas. It'd be a nice birthday week. Got me a bunch of Hog gear for my birthday, so got Slobber Hog. Oh, yeah. I got the Travis Williams hat, so yeah. It's a good day.
Well, there you go. Well, hey, appreciate you calling in, Trey, and a happy birthday. Maybe they'll get you a nice birthday gift this weekend. I doubt it, because
Would you settle for one of the two between that Troy blowout and the Texas game?
There better be one of two. There better be one of two.
I was gonna say I'm gonna stop you right there. I don't think Arkansas is beating Troy by 30, so you're gonna
probably not.
It's gonna be a disappointing start to that birthday week, but we'll see how it works out.
You're just dead set on doing this, aren't you, Hogs? You're just dead set on doing it. It's gonna be a stressful week, and just once it doesn't need to be. But either way, I don't know if Hog fans can handle like blowing out Troy by 30 and then beating Texas on Saturday. I really don't. Can we just go ahead and get this out of the way? Do they rush the field if they beat them?
Nah,
No.
You don't think so?
No.
mostly because it'll be 2:30 in the afternoon, man. It's time to go to happy hour. It's not time to rush the field.
You don't give Longhorn pundit that satisfaction.
No.
Storm on those dudes. You did it once, never again.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe Ellis brought it up before. It's also about like how it goes. Because if Arkansas, if you got Shipley out there hitting a 58-yard field goal to win the game, maybe.
Or like overtime, Talon throws a touchdown to, you know what I mean? Something like spur of the moment, like maybe overtime, Texas kicks a field goal, first play of overtime, touchdown, Arkansas. Like that might be, maybe then everybody goes nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Come on, guys. What are we doing here? Like half the damn fan base is in mourning because Sam Pittman's coming back next year, and then they go win a game. Yeah. We're going to storm the field, and it's just, what do you want to be? Dude. You guys are so bipolar.
You know how annoying. I'm not going to specifically point out anybody, but you know how annoying the conversation after Arkansas beat Texas would be around, wow, y'all really wanted to fire Sam Pittman? Really? Y'all really weren't pleased with Sam Pittman's job? Look at that. He wants to be here. He wants to be here. It would be so annoying.
Oh, it would be awful. And that's what me and Curtis we talked about on our way back. But it'd just be such a weird position to be in if you're a Razorback fan, where it's like you're so happy. It would to me go back to like the Houston Nut days where it's like you're pumped that they won, but then at the same time you're like, but to what end? Yeah. At what cost will this happen? And what is it? Do we want to play the long game? Because we love winning. Winning's great, especially when you beat teams you're not supposed to. But if you beat Texas this weekend, but then you go and get punked by Missouri on the road at the end of the year, it's like it was all for naught. It just doesn't feel that way.
Anything short of Arkansas losing these last 3 games, that man's back. That's just the way it is.
Oh, don't do that, Curtis.
It's just true.
I fear you are correct, Curtis.
It's realism. I just I'll plant that seed, but I just can't fathom them only beating Louisiana Tech and losing these next 2 games, especially they get embarrassed to Texas, and then just everything's hunky dory. I just don't want to live in that world. I think it's where we're headed. We'll see.
I don't know, but yeah, if somebody brings it up, I always hate when people say this, but I'm going to say it. If that happens, if that scenario happens where you get embarrassed by Texas, you beat Louisiana Tech, but then you lose to Missouri to go 6-6, and Sam Pittman is just, for sure, coming back next year, you're not a serious football program. Sorry. You're just not. Anyways. On lighter notes and probably on happier notes, let's just go ahead and do this because we need to get happy again. There was some big news yesterday. I don't know if y'all heard about it. It was in all the papers this morning. But also if you watched, of course, the Pod at the Palace live last night and the mailbag and a lot of great content from that. But there was a guy by the name of Meleek Thomas, who was a 5-star player that committed to Arkansas and Calipari last night. Huge get, huge news, huge everything. And it was really cool to see that. And I'll admit, guys, this is so random about it. But it took me a little bit to realize that he does not have an A in his name. Mm-hmm. It is an E. It is Meleek. So 3 E's in Meleek. Very good stuff. But
the really 3 great. E's are for energy, effort, and enthusiasm, I'm told.
Dadgummit. Jeez. Dude, I really hope he's been told that at some point, like in his coach, like when he was a young lad and he had the volunteer coach sitting there back, son, your name's Meleek. You know what those E's stand for? You got 3 of them.
Someone needs to go with the sign that's got like his name and then it's like energy, effort, enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity with Muss out of here,
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. They need to start chanting it at games. But there was a lot of cool little videos and stuff circulating from him and just his personality. I really like this one, though. I wanted to play this one. This was pretty awesome.
It's going to be a special backcourt. I don't think no backcourt in the country's going to be able to really go head-to-head with us. Every night you got to tie your laces up. So me and Cheeks versus any two guards, I like us.
He's talking about Darius Acuff, by the way. But
Meleek and Cheeks.
Meleek and Cheeks. That's what they're going to be called.
Lace them up, man.
Dude, I love the confidence. Love the swagger already. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, that's really good. It's going to be a hell of a dynamic backcourt. And, they're not done. They could get upwards of 2 more commitments by the time the early signing period ends next Wednesday. I'm not calling that to for sure happen, but it's a realistic possibility. They might get one this weekend, and they may or may not have Caleb Wilson on campus finally this weekend. I mean, it's out there again that it's going to happen, but I've already done the thing where I wrote the story about it, and then I recorded the video and uploaded it about it, and then he didn't show up, so I'm not doing that again. When we see his IG post from Bud Walton Arena, then
or any other places on location in the Fayetteville area. Yeah.
Well, we now know that breakfast at C4 is not the recipe to getting a commitment. Yeah. John Calipari had to learn that the hard way. But
what's Brandon Garrison doing these days, by the way?
He's the backup center at Kentucky.
Is that where he went? I didn't even think about that. Oh, yeah. Oh, good for him.
Yeah,
he's gonna be lacing them up against Duke tonight.
It really worked out for Arkansas.
Yeah, I think it did work out. But yeah, so that was great to see and great news there too. But also, I know you guys had a chance to hear from Kenny Payne getting ready for Troy tonight. So that press conference was right before we went live. So anything from assistant coach Kenny Payne and getting ready for this one? Anything of note for that game?
Not really. I mean, he said good things about Troy, but really what struck me is that he was talking so much about how aggressive Troy is defensively, and they do a lot of run and jump and pressing and trapping. If they come into Bud Walton and try to do that to this Arkansas team, they will get beat by 30. Like they need to just sit back in a zone for 40 minutes if they're smart. So we'll see about that. But talked about Jonas Adu a little bit, and I think he's getting healthier, and they're just kind of playing the slow game with him. I don't know if he looks any healthier to me than he did in Pine Bluff or whatever. So hopefully that's actually the case. He thinks they're a better 3-point shooting team than they've let on. We can all think that, but we need to see it. He did. And man, Louisville fans have been introduced to my mentions because Kenny Payne did say they were just caught off guard by Baylor's zone and it had them playing tentative early, and then they figured some things out, and Louisville fans are all over that in my mentions now. Like, what? Kenny Payne unprepared? But it's what I will agree with for people with criticism is that there's legitimately no excuse for not being prepared for that Baylor zone. I knew it was coming. You guys knew it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming. They just weren't prepared for it. And that's on them. So maybe they won't be caught off guard by that anymore. But I don't know. It was almost like a running it back of the last presser that he had. I think Big Z's gotten better, but they're not satisfied with where he's at. He's got a ton of room to grow. Pleased with Boogie Flan so far, but he's still young and figuring things out. It's just, playing the hits, as people like to say.
I like that he said he hopes we have to hope that they play zone so that we can show people that we can shoot the ball and that we aren't going to play tentative against that zone.
That would not be my approach.
Yeah, I'm saying it's I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, maybe this could be the game where Arkansas just finally just hits 10 threes and we can at least get that. Because what are they at? 24%? Is that what Bob said yet right now? Yeah. Now you got to get the overcorrection to where Arkansas, because we think they're going to be about an average shooting team and when it's all said and done. So you got to overcorrect here a little bit and then have everyone start freaking out. But yeah, hope they play zone. But I agree with what you said in our text message where you're like, they want to do the trapping and running 3 guys at the ball. Like that seems like a quick way to let this Arkansas team get out and run, which is kind of what they want to do.
Highlight City, man. Yeah. Sign me up for that. That would be fun. I was trying to think if there was anything. Oh, well, John Calipari last night, you guys didn't listen to it because I'm the only one that listens to what he says at Sassy's. But I just listened to the beginning of that. He did say against Baylor, he felt like Jonas Adu shouldn't have played. He's like 70-80%. He shouldn't have played in that game, but he's just kind of grinding it out. And he also said that there's been movement on the depth chart. And then he immediately mentioned Billy Richmond as a guy who played really well. So I wonder, like, if Billy Richmond gets a start or something, or maybe, we'll see. And then I also wonder what that means for, like, it's kind of a rough one for Big Z. So do they throw Adu in there and just say, hey, let's just throw you to the fire and see what happens? If they start Trevin, I don't know, but it sounds like they might do a little bit of a lineup shakeup on Wednesday. So eyes on that.
Did he do it in the very Cal way of doing it and talking about why they feel like they probably shouldn't have played Jonas Adu? Like, I felt like we shouldn't have played him. You guys think he should have played? Anybody? I don't think he should have played.
He did.
Al the Explorer.
It was really hilarious, man, because he did this thing where he was like, he's like, I was disappointed. He's like, I need 24 hours to recover from a loss. I was disappointed, but I was disappointed in me. He's like, early in the season, my biggest thing is, I know it's a process, but I want us to look organized. He goes, do you guys think that we looked organized against the zone? And then you could hear everyone in Sassy's go, no. And then he just paused for a minute. He was like, somebody could have said yes. Like, I mean, it was just like a unanimous no. And he's like, dang.
Well, when you're going to do the swipe or no swipe in Dora the Explorer adventure, like, people are going to give you the answers. I don't know.
Yeah. And listen, that just shows you Hawk fans know ball. They know. It's just like, no, you shouldn't. You didn't look prepared. You didn't look like you didn't know what you were doing out there. So that's good. That's the funny part of Cal's press conferences, when he gets audience involvement and participation. He needs, like, it's funny when he does it with the people at Sassy's or in fans, but then when he does it with the media and the press conference, everyone's like, we're not supposed to, like, have this back and forth. We don't know. Like, we don't know what to do. Yeah. Not like David here. It's like, can we fix it? Yes, we can. From Bob the Builder.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's playing the hits. Cal's playing the hits from Nick Jr. back in the day, apparently.
Yeah.
So he's a big fan watching it and growing up. Let's see a few off the chat here too, because we will get into some buy or sell as well as an SEC update here in just a little bit. But this was come from Nick. Why is Kenny Payne giving press conferences, by the way?
This isn't new.
It's like the third or fourth straight week, right?
Yeah, it's just the assistants do the midweeks. They did it at Kentucky. They probably did it at Memphis and UMass. It's just a Calipari thing. And that has also been a thing for the first 4 times we've seen Arkansas play basketball. So,
yep. Well, and I just think it's funny because, Cal was like, listen, I got to do Sassy's. Okay. I can't do Sassy's in the press conference here, Kenny. That's too much. I'm being seen by too many people at once. All right. You do this.
He did go he went on the spiel about the tickets thing. And he was like, I get it. Like, if we have a sold out building, we need to have all the seats filled. He's like, you can't go. It's like, give them away. If you can't give them away, do the buyback thing. If you can't do that, give them to me and I'll sell them. Like, it was pretty funny. But then he was like, we need a full building in these next couple games. We got a big recruit coming this weekend. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Caleb Wilson. But they don't play this weekend. So,
yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Is he going to be
not really going to see it. So, yeah.
Well, they play a Monday night, right? Is next Monday?
Monday against that's Pacific.
Yeah. So it's just but the Kenny Payne thing you're just gonna have to get used to, folks. And I'm honestly okay with it, but I know some people may not be. Also, that Texas fan was really upset. And then you got I'm trying to think of who these chats were referring to as. I'm sure it was somebody else, but I don't know. No. Jeff just says, if a team doesn't play zone against Arkansas, is dumb. Zone is a kryptonite of Arkansas at this moment. They will figure it out, but right now they are clueless. So
yeah, again, like I really do wonder. I'm not taking a shot at you there, buddy, but did people watch the game? Did people watch the whole game, or did they just know that Baylor's zone and Arkansas went 5 of 20 from 3? Because they made adjustments. Like, people were just on this. And like I said, there's no excuse for them not being prepared for that out of the gates. And they weren't, but in the second half, it was a completely different story with the actions they were running. Kenny Payne talked about it today, about how they started getting into that pinch post area and getting touches in the middle of the zone or in the short corner. and attacking from there. And that led to some better looks from three. It wasn't just about the ball move. They had plenty of ball movement in the first half. It was just guys standing there, passing it back and forth to each other. It was pass and cut and a lot of different actions that they were running. Could have done some different things. I would like to see them screen more in that zone. Like if you screen the inside guy, or if they're in that weird, like it was like a 1-1-3. It was really strange that they were in. Just set a flat screen on the top guy in that zone. Let Boogie pick a side, and you kind of attack from there. And then it draws in help. You kick out, whatever. So sure, they could have done some other things, but people acting like they just did the same damn thing the entire game, and that it was just it got better. And so now we got to see if they improve moving forward. But to act like he didn't make any adjustments or anything is crazy.
Well, I mean, just go shot by shot in the second half. Just each shot that they took. Could you live with that look? Most of them, you would say yes. They didn't make. There were a lot of shots they needed to make, which again is part of, I guess, why they're gonna have to prove to teams that zone is not the answer. But I think their shot making is going to get better, and I definitely agree that there were some adjustments. Like I thought they looked a lot better in the second half. Just ultimately kind of dug themselves a little bit too much of a hole and never really came back. But yeah, I have close to zero doubt that they will look a lot better if Troy does attempt to zone them tomorrow.
So in that way, let's go ahead and jump into your SEC update presented by Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com. Got one of their great shirts on right now. In fact, this is the second. I've been wearing it. I wore it last night. It hasn't been 2 days, but I'm wearing it again. Shut up. It's fine. It's comfortable. I'm at home. Leave me alone. But it's great because it's awesome. So check it out, Rhoback.com. They have all the greatest performance apparel you could ask for. Hogs buy 20 for 20% off your first purchase. Hogs buy 20 for 20% off. Simple as that at Rhoback.com. A few things going on in the SEC. Guys, Todd Golden, right? Got a chance to see what was going on there. Apparently, he got a nice little ovation when he got on the court. I don't know why, but then he just sits down and says, quote, "For the last month, I have actively participated in respect to the confidentiality of the ongoing school inquiry. I have recently engaged Ken Durgle to advise me on my ability to bring defamation claims, blah, 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 blah." Anyways, he went to the press conference and just said, I'm not talking about it because investigations and whatnot. So there you go.
Yeah, he can't.
Nope.
He can't talk about it. They can't fire him. Like the investigation has to play out. Nobody should be surprised by that.
Yeah. Just still, this was one of those awkward, uncomfortable things, the big elephant in the room. It's like, especially as something as we talked about last week, and ridiculous and crazy, just it possibly being true is always just going to weigh heavy on people. So, but yeah, that was pretty rough. Either way, SEC also did hand down some pretty massive fines over the weekend. Ole Miss got fined $350,000 for rushing the field because apparently they got $250,000 for rushing the field in general, but an additional $100,000 penalty because they entered the playing field before the conclusion of the game,
like a good 25 seconds before the conclusion of the game.
Yeah. So $100,000 for them. Also, LSU has been fined $250,000 for throwing debris on the field in protest of one of the calls there in the 42-13 loss to Alabama. So, yeah, SEC got a little richer over the weekend, boys. So, well, over $500,000 for them there. But I don't have any problems with it. Honestly, someone was saying, you're telling me that throwing some water bottles on the field is the same amount of fine as them rushing the field after a game? Like, yes. In fact, it should be more, in my opinion, because you're just throwing a fit over a call. You don't even know if it's true or not. I don't care. Like all those drunked up LSU fans, there's no way that all of them are looking at the replay and just be like, "Oh, that's horrible." It's like, and then just throwing bottles and stuff. Somebody's going to get hurt. So yeah, a lot of money being made for the SEC, and the fact that it's just funny that they got $100,000 more. Ole Miss did for just an extra 16 or 20 seconds or whatever it was jumping on the field. Wait till it hits zero. There you go. And that's when it ends. So anyways, also last night in college basketball had a few games out of the SEC transpired. I like the Monday night action. It's going to go away here soon, but I still like the Monday night college basketball action. You had Alabama beat the Fighting Will Wades. Final score 72-64. So
Alabama's been kind of sus early.
I was going to say that, but I don't know anything about basketball, so I wasn't.
I mean, Arkansas State and McNeese are two really good mid-majors, but that shit didn't matter when Arkansas beat Lipscomb by 16. I don't see anybody throwing Nate Oates under the bus for being in some dog fights there. But like in all honesty, I think those are two 2 decent wins against quality mid majors. But I mean, we just got to keep that same energy, right? So what's
You
going
think he
on
threw
there?
his boy a bone at Arkansas State and was like, we won't run you off the floor.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe something like that. Maybe him and Will Wade have a good relationship. I was kind of hoping that McNeese would win that game. That would have been cool.
Well, dude, McNeese is a hard team to blow out. It's
They
really hard to score 80 on those dudes.
Yeah. I was waiting for that game to see if anybody came out and be, classic Nate Oates. I was wrong about Nate Oates. I was wrong about this team. Can't believe I thought anything different.
Yeah.
No.
What did you learn about Alabama in this game? They can't shoot and they don't have point guards.
Yeah, it's what happens. That's what happens when you only got 8-point wins over quality opponents in game 3 or whatever it is for Alabama.
Grant Nelson was good though, so good for him.
22-8, not bad. But another SEC action. I mentioned Todd Golden. Florida did beat Grambling 86-62. Texas A&M beat Lamar 97-71. Missouri found a way to beat Eastern Washington by a score of 84-77.
I'll tell you how they found a way to do it. They had some dude come off the bench and hit 8 threes out of nowhere. Otherwise, they would have lost that game to Eastern.
Is it the grill guy?
It was the grill guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington has a transfer, and dang it, I can't remember where he's from. But that dude was giving them buckets. And for a while there, I was like, oh, they're about to beat Missouri at Mizzou. But they figured out because the dude was just, I mean, he was drilling threes. He was on the team last year. I think he transferred from like Iowa State or something. And but that just, I don't know if he's ever hit 8 threes in a game before, and he probably will never do it again. But it happened.
Yeah, I saw this. I looked at his numbers: 10 of 13 from the field, 8 of 10. Hit 5 of 8 free throws. Had also 9 rebounds and 33 points in total. And if you see the guy's picture, he literally he looks like the old Missouri coach Quinn Snyder, like the way with his haircut and everything. It's like he looks kind of a little weird
Coked
there.
out.
Yeah, just still, looks like he should be on the Wolf of Wall Street instead.
Quinn Snyder, dude. Quinn Snyder. This is a statement. Quinn Snyder looks like a strung out version of Eric Musselman. Like
He is.
Eric Musselman went on a bender for like 2 months straight. He would come out of it looking like Quinn Snyder. That dude looked insane coaching on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm. I remember when he was at Missouri way back when, and this was before Mike Anderson was even the coach there, that I was looking at this guy. I'm like, man, he looks like he's got some stories. Like he's got some hard miles on him.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
By the way, have we talked about how Cal and Dennis Gates apparently are just like best friends? Cal was like, he sought out Dennis Gates like 4 times at SEC Media Days to play, to either like, they did the like play like stomach punching thing that like boys will do when they see each other. I think Cal likes Dennis Gates more than Dennis Gates likes Cal.
Yes.
Yes.
But Cal literally, like, as soon as he got done with Feinbaum, like turns around, he's like, "Oh, hey Dennis, what's up?" Like, just loved it. And I thought that was hilarious.
I thought he was going to start tickling him or something. Yeah. Cal's a big Dennis Gates
Been
fan.
pissed if that had happened.
Yeah.
Maybe because he just wasn't. Maybe it's because Gates isn't a threat in the slightest. So it's like, I'm fine with him. It's like, it's cute. It's cute that you're coming up to me and talking basketball.
He's not poking Nate Oates in the gut for sure.
No, and I ain't doing that with Bruce Pearl. So not happening at all. But also the final other game from the SEC last night. I literally don't even care. I don't even know why I'm going back to this. But Oklahoma beat Northwestern State 73-57. So there you go.
There you go.
Yep. Tonight though, you got South Carolina and Towson. And then you got Georgia, North Florida. Watch out for North Florida now. They beat South Carolina.
They beat Georgia Tech too. The Ospreys are rolling.
Apparently so.
North Florida's had some good teams over the years. Like about every 5 years, they have a good team.
Yep. And then you have Mississippi State and Southeast Louisiana. You got Ole Miss and South Alabama. Texas and Chicago State.
You mean you have Ole Miss and against Barry Dunning? Is that what we're doing here?
Oh, yeah, I guess he is there.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he was UAB.
He was.
Processed at UAB.
These kids these days. I can't do it, man. And then, of course.
Who? I'm sorry.
What's that?
Texas and who?
Chicago State.
Oh.
The state of Chicago.
Yeah.
That's what they called. And then there's apparently another game. I think it's, Duke, Kentucky. That's tonight, too. ESPN, 8 o'clock.
Snooze fest.
Yeah. You know what's pretty sad is you can go to this game for $25 there in Atlanta.
Really?
Wait, is that where the Champions Classic is at, Atlanta?
State Farm Arena.
I don't know why I thought it was an MSG thing.
They're not going to have.
Dude,
They don't want Kentucky in the MSG. There's only certain teams that can go to the MSG.
I'm sorry. I thought they were at a higher level of a program. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're playing the overtime elite arena. Wow.
It's crazy, man. Yeah. It should be a fun game to watch, though.
It should
In all
be.
honesty, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, both of those games, even though Michigan State's not the Michigan State of old.
Kansas might smack them up, man.
Also, I think Duke is favored by like 5 or 6. I think I'm all in on Cooper Flagg and the Devils.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Bet Saracen has Duke at 5.5 point favorites as of this point. So,
do you know that Duke's freshman center that they got from Africa, he was on the South Sudan Olympic team? Remember South Sudan? Like they were beating people. Awesome. They damn near beat Team USA. He was on that team.
Big team to stretch, but yeah, they had some very competitive games. And I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Winion Gabriel leading the charge for him, former Cal guy.
Man, yeah, that is a throwback. I completely forgot about that too. Well, be some good games tonight. And then, of course, Arkansas plays tomorrow. And, yeah, that's about it. Kent State and Auburn. Yeah, it's just so funny, like, when I look at these games that some of these SEC teams are playing, and it's just like, I mean, I get it. Everybody's doing them. It's just like, it's got Tennessee and Montana. Great. Should be a big matchup. But
did you guys know that since we're talking about SEC games, this is football, but I just had the Georgia-Texas box score pulled up on ESPN because I was talking to our buddy. But at the top here, it's just got the games for this week. And like Alabama's playing Mercer in football. Did you know Mercer's 9-1?
Yep.
I don't know what that means, like in the FCS or whatever they're doing, but they're 9-1.
I want to say, Curtis, that they have like the number 1 FCS offense and the number 1 FCS defense or something crazy. Like they're a damn good FCS team.
I hope they ball out. Let down from the LSU game, you know.
The only reason I know that game or about Mercer is because of my buddy Thomas, who is the Bama fan, was talking to me last night. He's like, I'm worried about this game. He's legit. He's like, we gotta get back Mercer. He's like, I don't know if we have what it takes. And I'm like, I hate you so much. I hate everything about you. Because that's how he is, though. He's always got this nervous energy about Alabama football. Even the years, I remember, never forget, it was in 2016. I think Alabama and Vanderbilt played each other, and Alabama was a 49-point favorite, and he was legitimately like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this game. And then they ended up winning by 58 points. I'm like, I just can't stand you sometimes. So, but that's just the way those Bama fans are. The point is, it would be really fun if they lost to Mercer. I don't think they will, but it'd be fun.
I wouldn't be stunned if that's a competitive game, though. Based on the very limited information I have, just seems like a funny thing that'll happen. It'd be like 38-24.
Is that like playing South Dakota State or something? Probably. Like
I was thinking about that. Remember week 2, we were like, hey, you know, Oklahoma State, they got a tough game, you know.
It turns out they just suck.
Yeah, they're just really not good.
I wonder how how the Jackrabbits are doing.
I don't know.
Sure
I've never seen a Jackrabbit doing bad. So
no, I mean, I'm sure South Dakota State's usually pretty solid in basketball too. Wouldn't want to see them there.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
They beat McNeese to open the year.
Did they really?
Yeah.
But then I guess they're doing pretty good.
Yeah. I know it's a sicko thing to know, but yeah.
I almost said, like, I feel like I saw McNeese lose to somebody, which made me think they weren't as good, but, you know, held Bama pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that'll be a nice little transition because I do want to get into a little bit of buy or sell with Bet Saracen. Download the Bet Saracen app, the number 1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. I actually won some good money over the weekend from Saracen. So it was mainly because I wasn't betting with my idiot head and going instead with my heart because Arkansas football wasn't playing. It was nice. So got some money there. But download the Bet Saracen app or go to betsaracen.com. Start winning some money here in the state of Arkansas. So, a little buy or sell action. So some football and some basketball in there too. How about this? All right, buy or sell that Arkansas will score more points against Texas than they did against Ole Miss.
Sell.
No, they're not going to score in 31.
Okay, so the reason I set that one up is because it kind of sets up this next one. So, buy or sell that Texas is able to score more than 30 points against Arkansas.
Oh. Buy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I can buy that.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say they're going to score more than Ole Miss did.
No, because that would be dadgum. Well, I wouldn't say it's impossible because it could happen, but even then, I don't know if Arkansas fans can take another record-setting day for a school in their home stadium.
I think we're looking at like a 34-17 type of afternoon. It's kind of where I'm at right now.
Is it 34-17 where they're up 34-0 and they come back? Or are we talking about
I don't know about that much, but like I mean, never really in question type of deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I think that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, because this is I actually didn't put this one in here, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask him. Buy or sell that Arch Manning attempts in this game 15 passes.
No,
I'll sell it. Actually,
run it up Herman and leave no doubt. They're gonna do that.
That's what I'm wondering about. Yeah. I'm still gonna sell it, I think.
I don't think that. Well, I'm selling it because I mean, unless Ewers gets hurt, I don't think this is going to be such a blowout that like he's playing the full second half. And even if he did play the full second half, I don't know if he'd throw 15 passes.
I don't know. They were throwing some bombs against Florida still late in that game.
They were.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much mercy that Steve Sarkisian has for Arkansas. Buy or sell that Jaquindon Jackson will lead the Hogs in rushing on against Texas.
Sell.
He might not play.
That's not what Pittman said. Pittman said that he may play. He's going to be practicing. That's what he said.
And I swear to God, I'm caveating this right now. I do not mean it as a shot at the kid at all. I do not. But he's going to get 1 or 2 carries and he's going to limp off the field. I mean, it's just what we've continued to see. So like after he's missed a few weeks, I don't know that he could come back and get the workload to do that. So
though we do probably all agree that Taylor Green's not going to be running that much in this game. So maybe they will just be handing it off a ton. But I agree that like
this is
you can't expect a heavy workload from Jackson.
This is very clearly Rashad Dubinion's time to shine.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's the thing. Taylor Green's going to be running. He's going to be running for his life. He's going to be back as soon as he takes a snap and he's going to pass. They're going to be in his face. So yeah, he'll be running all right. Just not in the right direction.
Russell back healthy though. Seriously though, like I really because I mean we didn't really see. We thought we were going to see him a ton in that Ole Miss game, and then they were just like randomly pregame. We're like, oh, actually he's like really banged up. But yeah, I would like to see Braylon Russell get like 14 carries.
All right, buy or sell. Speaking of injuries, Jalen Braxton will play against Texas.
Sell.
Man.
Sell.
I was hoping that I could cause some controversy, but this is really where we're at, where we're just guessing on injuries on buy or sell because that's about the only thing that we can bank on at this point. All right, how about this? Buy or sell that Arkansas will trail by 14 or more points at halftime to Texas.
I'm probably going to buy that. Barely.
I'm going to sell it. I think this is going to be the kind of game that Arkansas like really scraps in before running out of gas late. They will lose by I think like 20, maybe like in that like 17 to 23 range. But I do think it's going to be like a 17-9 halftime type of score. Like one where it's like really like, hey, they're in it, and then eventually they won't be in it.
I was going to buy this mainly because in my hardest of hearts, I believe the halftime score is going to be 20-3. That's what I think. 20 or 21-3. Arkansas is going to get a field goal. And it's going to be a ridiculous field goal that is like 54 yards. And then Shipley's going to miss a 38-yarder in the second half because that makes sense. So
I know they haven't played like a crazy gauntlet of a schedule necessarily compared to some other teams, but Texas defensive numbers are crazy.
That's not bad.
Nuts, man.
It's not bad.
282 yards a game in SEC play. That's ridiculous.
They've got a freshman defensive end who is probably like maybe the most talented like single player in the country. Like in terms of like when he's draft eligible, he'll be a surefire. I forget his name, but they're loaded on the defensive end. Like their entire. I mean, Jalen Catalon got processed. That's how good they are defensively.
Fair. Well, and I was thinking, to your point, Curtis, it's like, who's the best quarterback that Texas has faced this year? Is it Diego from Vanderbilt? Like, because I'm just Carson Beck. Yeah, it ain't Carson Beck. So that might be. I'm not kidding. That might be. Is it ain't Florida?
Faced a crazy schedule at all.
No. So they're due. They're due for a letdown. I'm trying over here. All right. So a little bit of basketball talk here. How about this? Buy or sell that Arkansas will beat Troy by 20 plus points on Wednesday. Not 30 plus, 20 plus.
I think I'm gonna buy that. almost like a backdoor cover kind of thing near the end.
Hitting
But
free throws.
yeah, I think they'll get there because, and the only reason I say that is because like the smart thing to do would be to just zone Arkansas the entire game, but also like you kind of have to stay somewhat true to your identity. And so I have a feeling that they might do that early. And then once they get down by a dozen or so, then they have no choice but to start doing that pressure. And it's going to be Dunk City, but I think it'll be barely. Like I could see this being like a 81-60 game or something like that.
Well, Curtis, my favorite theory is always if it's too obvious of a trap game, then it's not really a trap game.
Yeah.
I feel like Troy is the team that in this whole stretch, you're like, well, Troy's actually not bad. Return all these starters. Yeah, they might. I think it makes too much sense, but I am actually selling this. I don't think Arkansas will beat them by 20. I think Arkansas will win more in that 14-18 range. I think Arkansas will win comfortably, semi-comfortably. It won't be in doubt, but I don't think they're just going to run these guys off the floor.
And also just more of a season total, but I think it'd be fun. Arkansas will end up shooting better from three than they did last season, percentage-wise, as a team at the end of the year.
Well, they shoot last year 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit over, 31 maybe.
I'll buy it. And I literally just wrote an article about this, but I was listening to the Ion College Basketball podcast, and something that Gary Parrish was talking about is they're not shooting it well, but the bigger concern is that they're just not shooting enough threes. Just like the world for college basketball is going analytical, and John Calipari is just not following it in terms of prioritizing threes. And that's just going to be the case. I think as Razorback fans, we don't realize it because Eric Musselman was the exact same way. It wasn't that they couldn't shoot. I mean, they couldn't, but it was also that they just didn't shoot them. And it's the same thing with Kentucky. So people should read it, but I got to compare and contrast between the percentage of threes per field goal attempt and just the percentage of points that both these teams have had coming from threes over the last 5 years. And both Arkansas and Kentucky have ranked near the bottom of the country exclusively in those things. They just don't do it. Here's the deal though. If you're not going to shoot a lot of threes, you have to make the ones that you do shoot. And so that's what Kentucky did last year. They were, I can pull it up right here. They were 179th in the country when it came to how many threes they shot. But then they shot 40%. And they were number one in the country from that regard. So it just wasn't as big of a deal. Arkansas is not going to shoot 40% from three this year, but they got to shoot 33 to 35. They just have to. Or we're going to be looking at a team that, is probably going to be a damn 9 or 10 seed and fails to meet some of the expectations that they have.
Yeah, they absolutely have to. I think they will shoot better from three than they did last year. And I agree with with that. That was great. The volume just has to be there. There will be games with Eric Musselman where it's they'd be 3 for 11. Yeah. I'm how did that happen? I'm I get it. And then not a great percentage, but it's you got to give yourself a chance there a little bit. And so we'll see if the volume upticks. What's Arkansas? So how many threes did Arkansas shoot against Baylor?
20.
And see, I feel now I don't know where that would rank nationally, but hopefully it's more of that where they start making some threes. Maybe they make 9 or 10 tomorrow. And you get into that range where now they're starting to shoot 25, 26 threes per game. I think once they make it, maybe the little come off and we'll just see him start flying. Because Cal was talking about how you'd be yelling at Reed Shepherd, telling him to shoot more threes. He'd be making him a ton in those drills, and he'd be yelling at him to shoot. I think Cal, ultimately, what he's shown throughout his career is he's going to adapt to his personnel and what he has, what kind of skill sets. It's not like Arkansas's got a ton of marksmen necessarily, but hopefully this will be they have a game in this next week here or so where the lid comes off the basket, and then we can really get a better understanding of what kind of shooting team we're looking at.
Yeah, so far this season, Arkansas ranks 288th in the country in percentage of threes based on their total number of shots. Actually, that's moved since yesterday. It's 292nd now, but they're shooting 23.1%. It's just, if you're going to shoot 23s a game, you need to make 7.
I was just, this is just a random question. I'm sure you know to Curtis, but from last year's team, do you know who had the worst 3-point percentage that actually took threes?
Devo?
No. This person shot 11.8% from three.
And it wasn't Devo?
It felt like it, but no, it wasn't Devo actually. Hey, Devo had a whopping 24% from three.
Who shot 11% from 3 last year, and he played a legitimate role?
Yeah, I mean, he played the averaged, good amount of minutes.
I think I know exactly who it was, actually.
You do.
He's at DePaul now.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Leighton Blocker had 11% from 3.
That's tough.
Wow.
That's tough.
It's like, it's one thing to be that, but it's like when you're a guard too. It's like, yeah. He also had the worst free throw percentage on the team. Never mind. Jalen Graham held that, but
Bradley, don't tell us to chill, bro. I've
need to chill.
I've been the banner holder for this fan base, telling people to chill out about it. But it's just, I mean, it's just an objective fact. It's just.
Well, we just unanimously said we think they're going to shoot better from 3 than they did last year. They just haven't yet, and they have to shoot better, which is true. We're not saying we think they're going to shoot 23% for the year.
Yeah, and I think you just got to be open-minded to things. Like we see, like all the Kentucky fans, they're like, man, I've seen this before and everything. And you're like, all right, relax. But the reason they do that is because they have. I mean, because it is a pattern with Cal in this from the standpoint. And then, to the point that I thought I just eloquently laid out there, it's not news to Arkansas fans because it's been the exact same way for the past 5 years under Eric Musselman. And they've had a lot of success despite that. Like Arkansas has never had a good 3-point shooting team, percentage or volume, under Eric Musselman, but they went to 2 Elite Eights and a Sweet 16. So,
Well, that does it for our buy or sell. So it's sponsored by Bet Saracen. So check it out today, betsaracen.com, and download the app for the greatest and best sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. We'll want to get into an Arkansas update presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Women's basketball for the Razorbacks. The Ladybacks grinded out a big win last night in overtime against Little Rock in Little Rock. 71-60, ended up winning. They were down by 15 points at one point, stormed back, and then they outscored Little Rock 11-0 in overtime. So 2-1.
Wore them down.
Yep.
happy for them.
Yep. Too much for it, but yeah. And then this is something that nobody cares about but me. But they put it on the Arkansas Razorbacks website. It's the Jukebox Party Band's going to perform at Hogtown on Saturday. We need to get rid of Hogtown, folks. Hogtown needs to go away.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's the big stage that's next to our tailgate.
No, I meant the Jukebox Party Band.
Oh, no, yeah. It's well, I guess we can read the official thing. It's an 8-piece energetic party band from Northwest Arkansas. All and here's what sucks, because it's 11 a.m. game. It's like they're going to take the stage at 7:30 a.m. Oh. I'm like, man, listen.
I don't know if I'm ready for music that early.
I trust me, because like it was for our tailgate, since it's right close to it. We were getting pissed last weekend when it was like 7 a.m. when we got the warm ups from the saxophone player, and it's just like, oh, just drown me like as soon as possible. But yeah, it's like maybe for the 11 a.m. games, just have like a DJ or just play some music. Maybe just do that. Just hit somebody, get the aux cord and hit play, and that's all it is. So not hate on them, the band. I'm just talking about it in general, because
yeah, for sure,
it's just not a thing anymore, and you're wasting good tailgating spot. But I don't know. I'll be curious to see what the crowd is like. That's a good question. What do you think the crowd will be like on Saturday? Honestly,
it'll be big.
Yeah, I think it'll be more than Ole Miss for sure. Even though they got smoked by Ole Miss, and you feel like it would be, coming off a loss like that. But I think just because it's Texas and a lot of people coming into town, I think there'll be a good turnout for Texas fans too. I really do.
Probably so. Yeah, I mean, they'll probably announce it at 73 plus, and then maybe they get 68 to 70 in there or something.
Yeah, maybe
more than that. I mean, it's this one definitely matters to folks, especially a different generation. I think that would be a pretty good turnout.
Well, and there's just a lot of people who plan to come to this game a long time ago and aren't going to change their plans based on anything, unless Arkansas had really been horrible. Like my brother's coming up from Houston. I know he's got some friends that live in Austin that are Hog fans. So like Arkansas has a ton of Texas players on the team. They've also got a ton of those fans that probably penciled in this game as their game to go to, which again, I brought it up a ton, but every time people will be talking about whether or not they're going to fire Pittman, and they're like, well, they have to because the attendance. I'm like, well, the attendance is they're selling a lot of tickets. they're making a lot of money in football this year in their home slate. So honestly, like I think that's part of why maybe Hunter Yurachek is going to be content to just roll the ball back out next year.
Yeah, and also kind of random here, but we were talking about the rivalry and where it ranks for Texas. This came from on Texas football guy CJ Vogel, who writes for him over there. He just brought it up and had a graphic. He says it's an old man rivalry. It's a bigger rivalry for Arkansas than it is Texas, and I think that's very much the same for how it is with Texas Tech. So I think there's similarities between how Texas feels about Texas Tech and how Texas feels about Arkansas. So
interesting.
Mm-hmm. If you wanted that correlation when we were talking about
Crabtree ain't walking through that door.
That kind of pissed me off, but
it should.
Probably right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean
I can't really argue with it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is
like
for all
the guy earlier that was like, "Oh, you're getting Punk Saturday." Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And if Arkansas actually wins, he's got to come back on the chat. He won't. He won't, but he has to. But that was also
at his desk right now, like literally crying tears at his desk.
I think Arkansas. I think Texas Tech might be the third most hated team by Texas. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe they're the third team because I don't doubt they hate Baylor or TCU or SMU or any of this. I mean, maybe I don't know. I really don't. Texas is weird. They got a lot of things they're mad about, pretty much. So, but yeah, that's your Arkansas update.
Whoa. We're gonna have an Arkansas update where we mention Mike Neighbors and his women's basketball team, but we're not gonna give the soccer team their flowers.
Because they have a game against Oklahoma State on Friday?
Yeah, NCAA tournament, man.
They got screwed.
They
got
did
screwed.
win the SEC championship again, right?
Yeah.
They didn't
did
make
not.
it this time.
They didn't make the title game.
Yeah.
Can't lose if you don't make it. But no, I actually was going to bring them up like closer to it. But yeah, I think I'm just pissed because they kind of got screwed. Like last year they played, I think, Missouri State or somebody like that in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before that they played, Louisiana Monroe, somebody. But then this year it's Oklahoma State.
Speaking
I
of
don't know.
Missouri State, did y'all see that our boy Anthony Christensen's sister won MVC Player of the Year?
Yeah,
at Missouri State. I think she broke the assist record or something like that.
Yeah, we were talking to him in where the hell were we just Dallas, and he was like low key wondering if maybe they would get matched up in the first round with. I mean, cool.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah,
because he covers soccer, so that'd be kind of cool if he got to cover his sister playing in the NCAA tournament. That actually would be awesome.
Yeah, he told me that he was once verbally committed to my old school where I coached,
Lindenwood,
Belleville. Yeah, then he wound up going somewhere else. How about that? So if they win, then they got to go to freaking Cal
in the tournament.
I believe so.
Isn't Arkansas like top 5 in the country?
Yeah,
they're 2 seed. Yeah.
Well, let's see. The winner of Friday's match will play the winner of. Okay, no, maybe they would host that. The winner of Cal and
Pepperdine. Yeah, they'd host that for sure. Yeah. At what point do they all where's the? This is a stupid question. I probably should know. Where do they play the championships? Or is it the Final Four semifinals? Do they just go home field till the championship, or
Wembley.
is it? Yeah, just playing Wembley. Yeah, travel across seas. Yeah, go play where Manchester United's at. Yeah. It's gonna be curious. I bet you there'll be a really good crowd for that game on Friday night too, before Texas and everything. There'll be a good crowd.
Should be. I mean, I feel like they do pretty well anyway. I don't know how much that seats there, but the soccer atmosphere has been pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, they got it's a full 64 team thing. I didn't know. I mean, not every school has soccer and stuff, so I didn't know it was that big of a deal.
Yeah. Mississippi State, Florida State, and USC and Duke are the 1 seeds. And I just want to throw my computer through a wall right now because why NCAA with your bracket? Why? This is this weird stuff that pisses me off. In the NCAA tournament in basketball, where are the 1 seeds placed when you see the bracket? Where are the 1 seeds placed in each regional?
The top.
Yes. Of the regional.
It drives me nuts.
They did it twice. They did it on the top one at 1 seeds, but then in the regional down here, they put the 1 seed at the bottom. Why? Yeah. For what reason? Just y'all are the one that made the NCAA tournament in basketball, but soccer, we're going to do the things a little bit differently here, Charlie. We're going to put the 1 seeds at the bottom. Why?
Dare to be different.
Yeah, we got to get people talking. It's great. Anyways, that's just so dumb. But yeah, kudos to the soccer team. Hopefully they go far. Hopefully they get it done there. See a few chats we'll get into as well. Want to bring this up. Spectre Stream, shout out for the super chat. But because it's a super chat, we got to get to it because off topic. Andrew, how was that Galaxy's Edge? As a huge Star Wars fan, I've always wanted to go.
Well, since it's a super chat, I feel vindicated for like talking about it for a while here. But Galaxy's Edge, if you're a Star Wars fan, like it's absolutely worth the price of admission alone. So I went to the first time I went to it was 2019. It was like a month after it opened, and it was like impossible to get anywhere, do anything. So I appreciate now that like the wait times are somewhat normal, but yeah, Galaxy's Edge, it never ceases to amaze me. Like Hillary's not a massive Star Wars fan. She's dabbled a little bit simply just because it's on the TV in our house a lot. But she wouldn't consider herself like a Star Wars fan. She was blown away by some of the stuff where she's just like, holy crap. Like this, it really feels like we're there on one of the rides. We're like getting shot at, and she's like worried about it. It's good stuff. And the whole, I paid a ton of money for the lightsaber, which I can't wield it here because they shipped it to me, but in about 5 days I'll be able to show you the sick lightsaber. That whole process was really cool. The guy who did the little seminar for us was really in character, which I appreciated. I love when they commit to the bit. I will say my only complaint about Galaxy's Edge, the Mandalorian did not want to take a picture with me on my birthday. He was taking pictures with a bunch of kids. And so I walked up to him and I was like, I was wearing a shirt that had the Mandalorian on it. I was like, yo, it's my birthday. Let's snap it up real quick. And he just looked at me with disgust and walked away.
How did you know he looked at you with disgust if he has a helmet on?
You can tell. You could tell. Hillary actually has a picture of it because she was trying to take a picture of me and him. And he was not feeling it, man. So, but it is really cool. It's all, you'll have like stormtroopers walk up to you and be like, identification, please. Are you with the resistance? And like the kids will get into it. It's good stuff. There's all you get to fly the Millennium Falcon. I mean, it's a good time, and they've got like actual food. They've got a place called Oga's Cantina. I'll have to take you boys there one day. We'll get some blue milk shots, and we'll have a good time.
We're gonna have to do a summer trip with the Inside Arkansas crew down to Galaxy's Edge, summertime.
Curtis would get plastered at Oga's Cantina, man. Drinking these disgusting mixed drinks made by a droid.
It's probably the only way that Curtis would even agree to go is if he could get plastered at Uga's whatever.
I only understood like
8
a half
words.
dozen words you said.
Curtis, I will say, when I was walking around Epcot, I really was thinking, dude, Curtis would actually like this. The whole drink around the world stuff where you can get a drink from Germany, then Japan, then Mexico, Morocco. Like they have like little stands set up.
I do like beer. Yeah.
You do like beer. And just like, you can try different foods if you want to, but you can try different drinks if you want to. But we didn't do the drink around the world this time, but in 2022 we did that. And it's a marathon. It's a lot of drinking.
So let me ask you. So you get to wield the lightsaber, put it together, but you have to have it shipped to you?
You don't have to, but it comes in like a huge bag because I mean, it doesn't like actually go down like so I just didn't feel like carrying around the bag and trying to fly with that thing.
I would have loved to have seen you trying to get that through, security, TSA, and then they're like, they pull it out of your bag, and it's like, what?
Yeah, he's like trying to do it to carry on.
Like, you know what? It's like $15. I was like, I'll just ship it to me, and then I can just move on. And because you got to carry it around the parks too, I would have definitely lost it. And so, it's all good.
Trying to put it up in the above like containers up there. Yeah. It's like sorry guys. It's my lightsaber. Sorry. Got to carry it with me. Jedi never leaves his weapon. Let's see. Also, the Finch says, just hopping on, Bev, we talked about how interesting how we dropped due to losing by 5 to a higher ranked team than us, but Bama stayed the exact same when barely skating by A-State. Well, you lost.
The difference between winning and losing does matter, I would say.
Yeah. They only dropped 2 spots. I thought that was fair.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more, to be honed.
I did too.
Just because of how they are, but yeah, I'll tell you. I meant to get the video for this, but what y'all think about Krissa? I think that's his name or whatever. About Cooper Flag.
I'm glad you started this. I thought it was stupid. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I get the whole notion. I know that like fans hate it whenever like notable players get hyped up. Curtis, did you see the comments?
I don't know.
So he basically, they're about to play Cooper Flag tonight, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he was basically like, well, everyone won't shut up about this Cooper Flag kid. So like, congrats to him. I guess he's already the number 1 pick. So congrats to him on that. But yeah, we're getting really, we're ready to like, show people They're like, he was like really like butthurt about Cooper Flagg being projected as the number 1 overall pick. I'm like that's how like we're not that far away from the NBA draft. Usually going into the season, they have mock drafts, they have projections. Cooper Flagg, the number 1 player in the class, happens to be kind of projected as the number 1 pick. Like, I don't get like why he's upset about Cooper Flagg being projected as a top pick.
I mean, it's crazy how far Kentucky has fallen. In just one offseason, they've gone from being the pro factory to being disgusted by top draft pick potential. Unbelievable, man. That's nuts. Yes. Kirk Kriisa, he is a historically edgy player. Like he talks his talk a little bit. I know he did that a lot at Arizona when he was there. That was kind of his shtick. So
well,
maybe
I as soon as I saw those comments, I hammered and went on Bet Saracen and hammered Duke -5.5. I'm like, man, it's like there's no reason to poke bears sometimes. And like Cooper Flagg is a guy where I'm like, you know what? Maybe not him. Maybe don't do that to him. And this Duke team, who already is going to get hyped for this game, and now you've just given him some more ammo for that. So I just go out there and play. And isn't this Carissa guy? He's not even a starter, is he?
He might be.
I thought he was.
They don't have starters at Kentucky. They have standards.
Yeah. Well, it also just comes back to the thing of like, so all right, you want us to go into this game thinking that Cooper Flagg is overrated. So then if you go out there and beat Cooper Flagg, you shut him down, you clamp him. We're not going to give you credit for it.
Yeah, you get no.
Whereas you should be thrilled. Hey, y'all think this kid is the number 1 overall player? Wait till you see what I do to him. Like that's how you should. It should be like I don't know. It just seems weird that you want to try and like downgrade your opponent that you're about to play. It just seems stupid to me. Like I would honestly like you see coaches do the opposite all the time, and the reason they do it is for the reason I'm talking about, where they're like, oh, Quinn Ewers, best quarterback we've ever seen. Oh, this Texas defense, best defense we've ever seen. They're tremendous. They've got talent all over the place. So that when you go out there and beat them, you feel good about yourself. Like that's how this works.
Well, and the same thing too with I can understand in the NBA if you got one player that's great going up against another player that's great and you want to downgrade him because you think you're greater because like that's kind of where it's at. It's one thing. But when you're talking about like a guy that's, according to the stats here, averaging 17 minutes a game so far this year in Krista, and you're going after the number 1 overall pick that will be the number 1, like there's no, it's not like if you go out there and your team beats Cooper Flagg and Duke, you're like, dude, this Kirk Krista guy, he might be actually better than Cooper Flagg. Like, no, like that's not what's going to happen. And so I just don't understand what's the point of this.
He's not even going to be guarding him.
Yeah, again, he's
like their point guard.
Yeah, just stop doing dumb stuff, man. Just stop being dumb. But yeah, it should be a good one tonight. I'm actually looking forward to watching that game. It's gonna be good.
Me too.
And
yeah, I don't. I'm actually a little bit torn on how to feel about this one. Duke's the much more talented team. They also have a ton of freshmen. And the one thing you can say about Kentucky right now, even though they don't have any NBA players or go-to guys, is they are very old. I think they have like 9 or 10 like graduate seniors or whatever it is. Like they are old. So
I mean, they got one of their best players has been at 4 different schools. That's impressive. Not everybody can say that, but Kentucky players can say that. So there you go. All right, I'm done after that starters and standards crap comment. So, any final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here?
No.
Okay.
I hope Longhorn Pundit has a great day.
I hope he goes and gets in a car accident, but he only hurts himself slightly. That's what I hope.
Has a broken elbow after a car accident.
Yeah.
Just a bruise, man. Just a bruise.
Yeah, it's the bone bruise. Yeah, just something like that. No. Anyways, appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching into Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube at Inside Arkansas. You can also follow us on social media at Inside Arkansas as well. And also check out our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks, and we will keep it going from there. So for Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you.